Comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Well, greetings, Boise State fans. Happy Thursday to you. Welcome on in, Bronco Nation News Live, here on the social media channels of Bronco Nation News and BroncoNationNews.com. Today, we're also, and that's the wrong graphic, by the way, Johnny. You wish you were with KTVB there. We're going to get that fixed in just a second.
Right.
I got Jay Tuss' graphic up there yesterday. We were talking for 5 minutes, and neither one of us noticed it. How about that? John Mallory is here, and he is with 95.3 The Ticket. There we go. Johnny, how's it going, man?
Doing well. It's a Thursday. It is gorgeous in the Treasure Valley today. I don't think it's going to get like serious triple digits, but it might like flirt in like the low 90s. I'm hoping. Maybe I am working for KTVB. I sound like a weatherman. But it's beautiful here. I love this time. It is the last day of June, right? What the heck happened to June? Where are you? Where did you go? This was the quickest month I can remember. Excited to be here with you, man.
I don't know where May went, man. It seems like the whole summer has just flown by. We're 3 weeks from today of already being in Las Vegas for Mountain West Media Days. I mean, 3 weeks. It'll already be day 2 of Media Days by tomorrow. So it is crazy to think about where the summer has gone. We're only barely a month. I mean, they haven't released the schedule yet, but somewhere probably around August 1st to start of fall camp.
Yep.
So we're only 1 month away from football season and got plenty to talk about. So excited to have you here, Johnny. I did want to mention quickly before we get in, and I think this is going to be a good debate, the FCS scheduling moving forward. The game was announced with Eastern Washington. A lot of fans had some debates and thoughts on that on social media. You can get yours in. But before we get to that, 2 notes I want to say. First of all, best wishes, happy trails to Joe Nickel. He is now no longer a Boise State employee. That's crazy to think
weird.
about. Yesterday was Joe's last day. He was the associate athletics director, basically led the media relations department, the communications department. Most of the big press releases over the years that you saw go out were from Joe Nickel. 15 years basically with Boise State. He's been here since 20. He came for 2 years left, came back in 2010. So about 15 years total for Joe Nickel. And that department certainly is going to look a little different. And just wanted to publicly say I mentioned it on social media yesterday. Should have said it on the show, but always, good to work with. Had my battles with Joe, but I thought he was always respectful and fair, and can't be easy dealing with us in the media, Johnny. And so I do want to publicly say happy trails to Joe Nickel.
As well. He was a fixture down there. A lot of people, fans, don't know what goes on behind the scenes. They don't know the relationship an SID, Sports Information Director, has with the media, or the importance of a good SID or a good sports information department to an athletic program, an athletic department. And Boise State had tip-top SID work over the years. Mike Walsh, Juarez, I can go on and on, but it started with Joe Nickel, and he's going to be missed down there. And I now I can just be a friend of mine, which is cool. I like my relationship moving forward. I don't know if you have that luxury, BJ. Sorry, dude, that's on you. But
on me.
I just look forward to being able to be friends with Joe Nickel now. Have nothing to do with business, and I'm sure, obviously kidding, you will do the same. But yeah, he'll be missed.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He's sticking around town, is going to be helping out with his wife's business, and I wouldn't shock me at all at some point to see him get back on in the business. But 15 years. Good luck to Joe. And he was the one, if we wanted to interview a player or a coach or needed an answer about something, he was the one we had to go through to do all that, primarily with the football department. And a lot of the famous photos, late in Coach Pete's tenure, or with Harsin, shaking hands, the famous Harsin-Peterson photo on the blue in 2015. There's Joe standing right there. I mean, mean, there's a lot of famous photos, and they're looking over here, and then Joe's right there. So, Joe, yeah, best of luck. We'll see you on the golf course at some point here soon. I also wanted to mention, since we got you on, Johnny, I know you guys are going through the basketball series. You got Chandler Hutchison coming on today. You've had Kejab on. You've had Alston on. You guys, you and Bob are kind of going through the some of the former basketball players, and I wanted to let you plug that so folks can check out that series.
It's kind of a cool deal for Boise State basketball fans because NBA Summer League tips off the big Summer League in Vegas next week. And there's 4 ex-Broncos playing on 4 different teams. Justinian Jessup with the Warriors. We are efforting him on Friday. Abu Kejab playing with his hometown Raptors. Derek Alston Jr. signed with the Dallas Mavericks. And Chandler Hutchison, like you said, who will be on Idaho Sports Talk today, he is now a new member of the Atlanta Hawks Summer League team. So there's going to be a lot of these games going on. This is the time of year in early July where there's like nothing outside of baseball going on for most American sports fans here, BJ. NBA Summer League, something that people can chew on when they get home at night. And for Boise State fans, like I said, there's going to be familiar players that they've seen and they've rooted for playing in NBA Summer League. So that might be something cool for them. And that's kind of why we're doing this series, if you will, just trying to find whatever local bones we can have to chew on. And this was the best we could find, I guess. But certainly looking forward to talking to Hutch today. He was one of my favorite players to watch at Extra Mile Arena. And his NBA journey, it's been quirky at best. So I want to hear what he's going to say in that regard, too.
Yeah, that 44-point game against San Diego State, and we were both
Legendary.
there courtside. Remember that game, vividly. So, yeah, I told you on the air, I think I've never been down to Summer League. I always get there like a day or two late for media days. This may have to be the time that changes to get down there and check that out. But, hey, speaking of basketball, check out Bauscher Real Estate, BauscherRealEstate.com, the number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley for you're looking to buy or sell that next home. Doesn't matter how low or high your price range is. Check them out, BauscherRealEstate.com. The Blue and Orange Store as well, theblueandorangestore.com. Free shipping for orders over $40. So you can go online, theblueandorangestore.com, get free shipping for an order over $40, or just check them out at the Boise Town Square Mall right next to Pro Image, all the new Nike gear, all that great stuff. So check them out, the Blue and Orange Store. Ridley's Family Markets as well, shopridleys.com. 13 Idaho locations. You can check them out across the state of Idaho and in the surrounding states. The at-home shopping, the Skip app, the home delivery, all that great stuff. They've got it at Ridley's Family Markets. And again, you can find a location near you at shopridleys.com. Okay, Johnny, we were talking about it earlier, and you kind of just the happened yesterday afternoon. I know you guys talked about it on your show, but it was after I was already off the air yesterday with Tust, and it's just one of those harmless, sitting around your desk and you get the press release, Memphis being added to the schedule, a new 2-year agreement. And then a little bit lower, it says they're also adding a game with Eastern Washington for 2025. And, you just tweet it out there. It's kind of harmless. And then at least on my social media feed, there was all kinds of debates and battles about folks not really excited to see Eastern Washington come up on the schedule. Get your comments in, folks, for the viewers that are watching on the Bronco Nation news channels or the KTIK channels. What do you make of Jeremiah Dickey's scheduling philosophy? What do you make of, probably annually playing an FCS school moving forward, the Eastern Washington game being announced? And, what are just your thoughts on where things sit? And I guess broadly for you, Johnny, I mean, this wasn't anything new. By the way, Darren Williams saying wake up ball game. So I don't know if you're falling asleep on me here, Johnny.
I'm doing well.
Okay. All
Darren,
right.
shut up.
This isn't new, Johnny. We talked to Jeremiah Dickey. He kind of has made this public on social media and talked about it last year when they canceled the Michigan State series. Now, some of the angst still remains from that. Fans are not happy that Tennessee Martin is coming to the Blue this year instead of Michigan State. That's part of the angst from all of this. But this isn't exactly breaking news. But where are you on Jeremiah's scheduling philosophy, yesterday's announcement, just kind of all this?
I like the fact that Jeremiah Dickey has a scheduling philosophy, okay? That, to me, in sports, in business, in life, find a philosophy, develop the philosophy, stick with your philosophy. And it's clear what Jeremiah Dickey's philosophy is regarding non-con scheduling. He wants an FCS opponent on his schedule every year. He would like to have a group of 5 opponent on his schedule every year. In many cases, 2 group of 5 opponents on his schedule. He would like to have a Power 5 opponent on his schedule every year. And on some cases, if you look at the future here, some of these years, Boise State has 2 Power 5 teams on their schedule. I understand the Michigan State thing because that had been there. That had been sitting there. Boise State went there way back in 2012, if you remember. Like, that was, come on, man. That was the completion of a home and home. And it's a Big Ten team on the blue. That never happens, especially a high-level Big Ten team. So I understand the fans saying, dang, man, you ripped that rug right out from under us, Dickie. We wanted to play Michigan State. I would have loved to cover that game. But I think the philosophy with this team, win as many games as you can, BJ. And that worked in the past. The past scheduling philosophy, take the Kellen Moore years. Give us the one big-time non-con opponent and the other 2, whatever, a UTEP, a Sun Belt team, doesn't matter. Let's beat that number 1 group of, Power 5, big-time non-con opponent. Ugh. And then let's run the table and let's see where that leaves us. I think Jeremiah Dickey is trying to get more to that type of philosophy than, hey, Pat Hill, Fresno State, we'll play anyone, anywhere, anytime. Well, okay, dude, then you're going to lose a lot of non-con games if you're just going to sign up and play big Power 5 teams. The fans need to realize you're not going to win every game when you have that type of non-conference schedule. At the end of the year, do you want to be 10-2, 11-1 versus a 9-3, 8-4 with this really fun schedule that the fans like? Jeremiah Dickey, his guys there, his team is clear when you look at the future conference schedules here, BJ, non-conference schedules, it's clear what the philosophy is. So
yeah, no doubt about it.
They're staying with it, and I'm okay with it. The Eastern game, maybe we'll talk about a little later. They're going to play an FCS opponent. I know there are other FCS opponents this fan base probably would like to see them play rather than Eastern, but it is what it is, and we all know why it is.
Yeah, and they do have 9 Power 5 games in the next 5 years, and excuse me.
It's crazy, huh? Yeah.
Some fans on social media were saying, well, UCF and Houston, they shouldn't count because when they scheduled it, they were group of 5. They're in the Big 12 when they play them. That counts as a Power 5 game. I mean, it is what it is. So you can't, discredit UCF because it was a group of 5 game when you scheduled it. It's going to be a Power 5 game. And you look like a next year's schedule, Johnny, 2023. You get Oregon State and UCF at home, and you play at Washington.
That's a really tough non-con. That's as tough as any group of 5 non-con team. You would think that's a contending group of 5 team. Not
2 Pac-12 schools and a 2 Pac-12 schools and a Big 12 school. 3 Power 5 games next year.
I would imagine Jeremiah Dickey looks at that and goes, "Oh no, dude, what's going on here, man? Where is the FCS program coming on this thing?" I think it's North Dakota, right? Is that?
Yep. Yeah, to North Dakota.
You have North Dakota, but that's as difficult as challenging as a non-con schedule from a group of 5 team that wants to get that New Year's 6 bid of anybody, BJ.
How about 2024? You get Oregon at Oregon State, and Houston.
Right? Both Oregons.
And at Georgia Southern. The easy game is at Georgia Southern in August.
Which is an upper-level Sun Belt team, and you're going to Georgia in August. That's not an easy peasy. That's not like an FCS on the blue. Again, I think Dickey's looking at this schedule going, God, fans are really thinking that we're taking the easy way out here on this UT Martin game. Holy smokes, look what this schedule looks like.
6 Power 5 games in the next 2 years, 2023 and 2024, have 3 Power 5 games each.
Yeah, most group of 5 teams that do that, BJ, just need to pay the light bill for the athletic department, that type of thing.
Yep.
And Boise State does not need that to the level of those other schools. No, they got a juicy non-con coming up, and they will be challenged there big time. And people are ticked off about Eastern.
Well, and let's look at 2025, the year that they play Eastern Washington. They start the season at South Florida the Bulls, they're not exactly a Power 5 team, but they're an AAC team. They're a team that's had some success in the past at South Florida, having to go all the way to Tampa to kick off the season. You come back and play Eastern Washington, but then you have to play Oregon and at Houston.
Yep.
So I mean, you're playing South Florida and Houston on the road, Oregon at home. Do you really want out of another Power 5 game when you're already playing those? I mean, there's or I know Oregon's at home, but at Houston, who's in the Big 12, and at USF, all the way in Florida to start the season.
A lot of travel miles, BJ.
Why would you play? I don't know. I have no problem with Eastern Washington right there. It's one thing if they're playing a couple, bad Group of 5 schools and they don't have the marquee game, but they play Oregon on the blue the week right after you play Eastern Washington. So won't you take that? If you get to have Oregon on the blue, you'll take playing an FCS school the week before. I do that every time.
Yeah, as long as you have Oregon on the blue, I think you can sell that to the fan base easily.
Well, you couldn't yesterday. The fans are not happy.
Well, they don't understand that's the Oregon year probably, and at Houston, that's at a Big 12 venue at the time will be. Here's my question to you, Rains. How many of those Big 12 teams, those new Big 12 teams, Cincinnati, Houston, like you mentioned, UCF, how many of those schools, if any, call Boise State, call Jeremiah Dickey and say, what's it going to cost for us to buy out of that? Because those teams, they played 9 conference games in the Big 12. They only get 3 non-cons. Yep. Some of these teams want to spend a non-con game going to the blue or having Boise State come to them and risk that early season loss. I think Jeremiah Dickey would listen if some of those schools called and said, hey, we're in the Big 12 now. This is a new thing. We didn't know this when we scheduled. Obviously, hey, name your price. We'll write that chickadee check, and let's let you find somebody else to schedule.
I think that's possible, but I think they have to have, there's one of the 4 they have to cancel. I mean, they still have to have a non-conference schedule. It's not like BYU where they had to cancel 12 games or 9 games, I guess, to only have 3 non-cons left. I mean, those schools only had 3 or 4 scheduled for non-con, and they still need to have a non-con schedule. They're just changing leagues. So it's a little different than BYU, who had to get rid of almost its entire schedule to join the Big 12. So there's a chance there, but I think the majority of those will stay. I know UCF's looking forward to it. They were supposed to, and part of the angst here is, let's not forget, they were supposed to have Florida State on the blue. The pandemic happened. That's not happening. They were supposed to have Michigan State on the blue. The game got canceled. So you were supposed to have a 3-year run of Florida State, Oklahoma State, Michigan State on the blue. Everybody was looking forward to that. It's not happening, but it's not Jeremiah Dickey's fault that Florida State found an out clause because of the pandemic where they don't want to have to come, play the game up here. I don't see that as being Jeremiah Dickey's fault. And I also, the one thing I kept hearing was, well, look at what he's done so far. Look at his track record. He's taken away a Power 5 game, Michigan State. He's added road Power 5 games, and he's scheduled 3 FCS games. He hasn't scheduled any Power 5 home games. And look at the track record. At this rate, we're going to have no Power 5 games left in a couple years. Well, that's because what we just said, Johnny. The Power 5 games are already scheduled.
Yeah.
They already have 9 in the next 5 years. They have basically 1 a year already. He's trying to fill in the holes, which were the FCS games. So, yes, he's scheduling FCS games and not Power 5 games because that's what they needed. And you mentioned it, his philosophy, 1 Power 5, 2 Group of 5, but one of them kind of a high Group of 5 BYU-type team, and then 1 FCS school. And, again, you just lost UCF to the Big 12. You just lost Houston to the Big 12. You just lost Cincinnati. Boise State, Johnny, should be dominating the Group of 5 if they don't – and, again, Boise State still could get in the Big 12 themselves in a couple years, and all this changes. But assuming Boise State stays in the Mountain West moving forward, after 2022, man, this is the last year you have to deal with those schools. Who else are you? I mean, Memphis, I guess. SMU. But, Boise State is going to be the clear standard of the Group of 5 moving forward. And if they have an undefeated season, I don't think it matters who they play. I think they are in. And so to me, like you said, why risk a second Power 5 game and a potential loss when you're already going to have the 1 Power 5 marquee game? You're already going to have a solid game or 2 in the Group of 5. I don't see you're not battling Cincinnati and UCFs of the world anymore, man. I think you get through this schedule unscathed and you are in the near 6. I think it makes perfect sense from a Boise State business perspective, wanting to win games, wanting to get in the near 6, to play an FCS school over another Power 5.
If that's the ultimate goal, and that's been the ultimate goal in this town since I remember, get to the big time bowl game, Get on that stage, ball out, show out, win, and then everybody talks about Boise State in the conversation for the best teams in the country, or just the fact that, hey, give the little guy over there, or the underdog, I should say, a little bit of respect. That's what's fueled this town, getting to that big game and winning it. Jeremiah Dickey's going back to that formula. And to get to that big game, you have to win a ton of games. And you know what? Look at their non-con, like we've talked about it. Those games, that's a plenty meaty schedule, but you can't have all of them there. It's a long season, especially if you're playing a lot of these games before you get into conference play. Look, the future of the New Year's Six bid for the group of five looks great if you're in the Mountain West. The AAC has been rated again. Sure, the Sun Belt's coming up a little bit. Forget the MAC, forget Conference USA. You know, I could say for the next 10 years, the Mountain West champion is going to go to a New Year's Six bowl game probably 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Boise State, it's not a foregone conclusion that they just get that bid. Boise State has not won this league since 2019. It's 2022, man. Boise State needs to get back and handle its business in the Mountain West to put itself in a position as conference champion to get that New Year's Six bid, as you well know, BJ. And the conference, 4 teams won 10 games in this league last year, and Boise State wasn't one of them. So Boise State has a lot to work with, and beating itself up in the non-con is not a direction that Jeremiah Dickey is taking this program in. We haven't got to 2026 on the schedule. There's an opening. It's going to be an FCS team. I would like that to be the University of Idaho. That's obviously for another conversation, but Boise State fan, you're going to hear more of these releases, and it's going to be FCS teams in a lot of cases here.
Pardon the interruption, I forget the host name, Tony Reale, when he presses the button to give you points for talking,
What, are you muting me?
No, when you were making that comment, I was seeing all the hearts come in. Everyone's liking your comment there on social media for your rant there. So we can take your comments on Facebook on both channels. We can take them on YouTube, but we cannot take them on Twitter. So just folks, just an FYI, if you're watching on Twitter and you're giving us a comment, some people say, "Why didn't you read my comments?" We don't see them. We cannot see your Twitter comments. So Facebook and YouTube on both channels. Get your comments in, your thoughts on this. We got a couple more to read, but first I want to tell you about Boise Dentistry Co. Check them out, BoiseDentistryCo.com. Full family dentistry, whether it's your kids, your wife, yourself. Full family dentistry. They make it fun. Going to the dentist, talking BSU sports. Check them out, BoiseDentistryCo.com. United Commercial Insurance as well. They can write business policies and insurance in 44 states around the country. So they're based in the Treasure Valley, but they can help you out pretty much anywhere in the country. So a 5-minute call could save you hundreds of dollars. So give them a check, UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. Give them a call, ask for Brandon, and see if they can hook you up with a better rate. Transportation compliance service as well. Talked to a guy the other day that gave them a call. Looking for a fresh start. Never thought of truck driving, and said, you know what, I'm going to give them a call. So Transportation Compliance Service, they help you with all the permits, all the things you need to do. So if you're looking for a fresh start, a career change, think about the trucking industry and think about transcomservice.com. Okay, the comments are rolling in here in the last 5-6 minutes here. Zach Price taking a shot at your Vandals. Idaho still plays football, ? We've got... Someone wants to know the daily ball game routine. Bob Barry here, golfed in the tournament, good friend of mine, real good dude. He says, can we change this up and have ball game talk about what he eats for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? He wants to know the daily ball game routine.
I don't eat breakfast typically. I have a decent lunch. Today I brought a couple of chicken bakes from Costco, and I put them in the employee fridge. I'm going to have a couple of chicken bakes for lunch. Dinner, I'm not sure yet. Yeah.
Your better half usually does the cooking, right?
Yeah, or my mom.
Okay. All right.
I live in a house with my girlfriend and my mother, and sometimes it's tough.
While we're off topic here, Derek is chiming in. Ball game, thank you for inspiring me at the tournament. I just got a cheap set of clubs, and I'm swinging it now. So you made your, I think it was your 90-second or whatever it's called now, on your
I got my
show
clubs too. Yeah.
about how you want to get into golfing a little more, and you inspired Derek. You went out there, hadn't played in a decade, gave it your all at the tournament, and now Derek bought his own clubs and is trying now. So you're inspiring people in the Treasure Valley by the day, Johnny.
Derek, let's go golfing, man. Get in touch with me. Let's go to the links, man. Let's have some fun.
He's a big blue-collar club guy, big BSU fan. Aiden chiming in as we get back to the topic here. Along with a potential New Year's Six bid and expanded playoff, makes this scheduling philosophy even more sensible. And, I mean, Johnny, right? Like a group of 5 team in the future is probably going to get into the playoff. I mean, right? I mean, do we think that's probably going to happen at some point
when they expand?
Yeah, when they expand the playoffs, a group of 5 team is going to get in. Boise State almost has a better chance to get in the college football playoff by staying in the Mountain West and dominating than being a lower level Big 12 team.
They do, but the problem with that is the money, man.
You're going to play at Bama in the first game.
The money, that's the problem with that. The Big 12, I thought I saw the article where every Big 12 team last year in television revenue, when it all came in, it was over $40 million per school, man.
Yep.
That's what Boise State wants.
That's like Boise State's entire athletic department budget.
And that would just be football TV revenue money. But again, this philosophy, and you've heard Jeremiah say it, I've heard it too. This team hasn't been to a Fiesta Bowl, a BCS, a New Year's Six level bowl game since 2014. We have to get back there. That's how this program was built, on those big games. So if you're going to have a scheduling philosophy with the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow being get me to a New Year's Six game for this year, for that matter, it's the Cotton Bowl. It won't be the Fiesta Bowl this year. Let's get to the Cotton Bowl this year and get this thing going. We'll see how the AAC beats itself up. I think Boise State's got a run in it this year to maybe get in that New Year's Six conversation again, but that appears to be the philosophy. And if I was a Boise State fan, I'd be okay with that. Everybody is playing FCS teams right now. It's kind of the new way of college football. And heck, the FCS teams like it too, because they got to pay bills in their athletic department and they need that big check. So kind of works for everybody, in my opinion.
Alabama, by the way, in the last decade has played the Citadel, Charleston Southern, Mercer twice, Chattanooga twice, and Western Carolina 3 times. So even Alabama, and I get the argument, you get to have all the other LSUs of the world come in there and play them, but you are right. Nathaniel's not a fan of the FCS.
BJ, especially if you're only in a league that plays 8 conference games, as the SEC kind of oddly is. I think they should play 9 like most Power 5 schools.
Yep.
For conferences, but Boise State in the Mountain West, you play an 8-game conference schedule. So you have that fourth, really that extra non-con there, BJ. And a lot of those teams, these programs are using the extra non-con against an FCS opponent. I really don't have a problem with it.
Yep. No, I don't either. And Nathaniel's saying he's not a fan of it as a group of 5 program, as it makes the strength of schedule argument much tougher if it finishes with a similar record with another group of 5 conference champion. As a Power 5, you could get away with it. Dayton Robinson chimes in. You look at the Mountain West dropping. This is a good point about the divisions dropping next year. Next year's Mountain West schedule, man, if they make their 3 common opponents or whatever, Fresno, San Diego State, and, who knows? I mean, next year's schedule could be one of the hardest they've ever had.
Oh, that non-con too, man. No question, BJ.
By the way, sorry. I was just going to say, you mentioned 2026. They now play at Oregon, and then they get East Carolina and Memphis at home. So East Carolina and Memphis at home. So they actually might need a road game in 2026, unless they want to go FCS and just have an extra home game that year.
Schedule the damn Vandals, and let's get this.
So that was part of the problem. Some people didn't like Eastern Washington because they thought Eastern Washington is actually a good FCS school. And if you're going to play an FCS school, just play Idaho State or Idaho every year. You're a Vandal fan. Would the Vandals take the paycheck and come down here and play?
Yes.
So it's not a Vandals not wanting to have a 50-point beatdown in the blue. They're willing.
I can do this for you. I can top that.
Okay.
Today at 5:00 Mountain Time, Jason Eck is going to be hanging out with me in the rowpaint.com studio.
Can you ask him? Can you ask him if they would?
1,000%. I'm going to ask him, would you come down? If it was in your hands, would you come down?
Take the paycheck and take a game that you probably don't have a chance to win.
BJ, I think it's a sellout, dude. This program, they don't sell out often. I think Idaho, that 2026 open time slot, I still think, and there's been a lot of history in between, I would still put money that they sell that game out. I don't think they need another road game. Have 3 home games that year in the non-con and make one of them. Throw this town, throw this state a huge bone for everybody to chew on. And even if it is a massacre, 67-3, okay, fine. Give Idaho that game if Idaho wants it, in my opinion. Hopefully they do that. I think Jeremiah Dickey, he's done a lot of cool things. If he can give Vandal fans that game, and Boise State fans, some don't want it. Some Boise State fans do want it. And I respect that for the Boise State fan base. Some of the Boise State fans, they don't care anymore. They've moved on. But you'd rather play Eastern, you'd rather play Tennessee Martin than the Idaho Vandals.
North Dakota.
I would rather just play the Vandals on that and sell the damn game out and have one hell of a party at Albertson Stadium that weekend, BJ. You'd love that.
I think the easiest thing is just every other year. 1 year it's Idaho, 1 year it's Idaho State. 1 year it's Idaho, 1 year it's Idaho State. Just give the local schools, throw them a bone, write them $1 million paycheck or whatever it takes. And I just wondered though. I wondered if it was Boise, if it was everyone's just assuming Boise State's the one not wanting to do it. And I wondered if from the Idaho side, if they still have too much pride or I don't know if arrogance is the right word, but if Idaho doesn't really want to just go down to Boise and give Boise State an easy win.
Jason Heck told me before, if you look at the Vandals schedule, I think Colorado State is on it. I think Wyoming is on it. And I think Air Force is on it in the future. Maybe another team outside of Air Force, maybe New Mexico. Can't remember. But I thought Eck told me, we have 3 Mountain West opponents coming up. Why don't just make that Boise State, Boise State, Boise State?
All right. Well, 5:00 today, we're going to be listening. You better ask the question and maybe even give Bronco Nation News a shout out while you're at it. We'll see how.
Why do I have to give Bronco Nation News a shout out?
Because it came up earlier this morning on our Bronco Nation News live show. We were discussing Boise State's schedule. There's an easy way to weave it in there. We'll see. But appreciate it, Johnny. That'll do it for today's show. We got record amount of people commenting, actually a record amount of people watching right now. I don't know what you got better viewership than Tusk yesterday, so you can brag about that.
That's really hard to do too.
But appreciate your time today. Appreciate you switching and trading with Prater for Thursday. And we'll be listening 3 to 6 today. You and Bob, Chandler Hutchison. You got Coach Eck. Sounds like a good show. So 95.3 FM, 1350 AM, KTIK.com, the KTIK app. And appreciate your time. Appreciate JP's time for helping as well. And we'll talk to you tomorrow, man.
Hey, JP. Thanks, BJ.
That'll do it. Bronco Nation News Live. We'll have breaking news, as warranted at BroncoNationNews.com. And Jay Tuss will rejoin me tomorrow at 9 a.m. for a Friday edition. That'll do it. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you later. Bronco Nation News Live at BroncoNationNews.com.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
At ICCU, to make a difference, it takes just one connection. A friendly face, an open ear, a helping hand. And then something amazing happens. We find out that we're better together. This is what Idaho Central does in our communities every day. We help our members with the small things and big dreams. This is what believing in you is all about. Idaho Central Credit Union, looking after your daily balance.